Hi and Assalamualaikum to Medum Faika. First of all, my name is Nur Aisyah Hidayah binti Adnan and my member group is Dayang Nur Kamisa binti Rano, Nur Hazika Nazura binti Muhammad Fetri and Dayang Kunur Syazwani binti Awang Jamal. On this video, we'll be present about our case study assignment of Operation Management, which is MGT345. We have actually set 1 for our case study, which is chapter 3 and chapter 4. On the chapter 3, we'll be explain about the product focus strategy and process focus strategy. On the chapter 4, we'll be present about the process oriented layout, product oriented layout and warehouse layout.
First, let's take a look at product focus strategy. Product focus strategy is a strategy that organizes the facility based on product or product family, and also known as line flow production or continuous process because they have long and continuous production run. There are several advantages and disadvantages of this strategy. The first advantage is allow the production of a high volume of goods. This means the factory can produce a large quantity of production at the time. Second, labor cost can be reduced. Labor cost can be reduced because most of the time the factory is using a machine to operate and doesn't really need labor to do the production. So that is why the labor cost can be reduced and company operating expenses can be reduced also. The third is easier production planning and control, because the machine provides a function or a feature where the company can select a level of production they want according to the material they have. As for disadvantage, the first one is low variety of product, which can result in not meeting the customer needs and wants. Second, high fixed cost, because the factory needs a lot of space to operate. That is why the fixed cost is high. Third is high investment on machine. High investment on machine to make sure that their product have a good quality. So it is a burden to a factory, a company to make an investment on the machine in order to make sure that their product is in a good quality. There are 2 companies that I choose which is using product focus strategy. The first one is Sabati and the second one is Desa. Let's take a look at Sabati product first. Sabati produce their product based on the leaves. The type of product that the factory produce is tantalizing tongkat ali, pacifying pandan, amazing agarwood, glamorous geranium, and many other variety products that they produce based on tea leaves. The characteristic of the strategy that used by Sabati is first, high volume but low variety of product. It's referred to the production volume, production quantity level that they can produce at that time is high, so they can meet the demand of the society. But low variety of product, it is because their product is only based on tea leaves only. They cannot produce anything which is not using tea leaves. Second characteristic is the use of specialist equipment. This is the must equipment because in order to convert the product, the tea leaves, into a tea that can be drink by people, they must use the specialist equipment. So the last characteristic is high fixed cost but low variable cost, is because fixed cost refers to the machine used by the factory to make sure their production can be run, and then low variable cost because the only main ingredient to produce their product is only based on tea leaves. That's why the variable cost is low here. second company is Desa. Desa produce their product based on 100% fresh milk. The product that they produce is milk, yogurt, and also cheese, and many other variety of product that is based on milk. The characteristic of the strategy that used by Desa: first, high volume but low variety of product is because Desa factory can produce a high level quantity at that time because of the machine used. And then low variety of product because the product is only made from milk only. So the second one is the use of specialist equipment. It is because the milk need a machine to process, to convert it to the milk where the people can drink it safely. That's why the specialist equipment is needed here. The last characteristic is less skilled labor use, because most of the time the factory only use machine all the time, so they don't need skilled labor in the factory to make the production run. So that's it. Okay, let us move on to process focused strategy. Process focused strategy is a strategy where production facilities such as equipment, work center, materials, and workers are organized according to the type of process. The advantage of this strategy is, first, able to provide many variety type of product or service. This can ensure to meet the customer needs and wants if the company able to produce a variety type of product. Second, customization of product or service. This can make company to continuously make improvement in their process to make a product or service. The third advantage is skilled workers are involved. If the skilled workers are involved in the production process, this can make the production process produce a better result. As for disadvantage of this strategy, the first disadvantage is unorganized process flow, which can result in bad effectiveness of product or service. The second disadvantage is can only produce a small amount, so company cannot expect to generate income faster. The third disadvantage is inefficient customer service. This is because different customers need different order or of process, so the customer service can be affected because of this strategy. There are two examples of companies that use process focused strategy. The first one is Hospital Kuala Lumpur and the second one is Mary Brown. Hospital Kuala Lumpur provide many types of service that includes many types of process. One of the service provided in Hospital Kuala Lumpur is Pharmacy Department, Ophthalmology Department, Oral and Maxillofacial Department, and many other departments that provide in Hospital Kuala Lumpur. The characteristic of the strategy that used by Hospital Kuala Lumpur is high product variety but low volume, because each department provides different types of results, and low volume because not everyone goes into same department in a day. The next one is customized product or service. The customized product or service is because the process only happens when there is patient go into the department. If there is no patient, so the process is not happening. The last characteristic is use skilled labor. The hospital procedure is fully handled by the qualified doctor. In Mary Brown, the process provided in their production process is frying, cutting, baking, and others. The characteristic of the strategy used by Mary Brown is first, high product variety but low volume, because each task produces different types of goods but only in a small quantity, depends on the order of the customer. Second, jumble production flow, because the frying process, cutting process, baking process is in the different place. So worker needs to move a lot in a different place to make their own work, their own task. The third, customized product or service. This is because the process only happens when there is an order from the customer.
Firstly is process-oriented layout. Process-oriented layout is a design for the floor plan of a plant that involves arranging equipment and facility according to their functions with the aim of improving efficiency. The workstation and machinery are not arranged according to a particular production sequence. Process-oriented layout, also called a job shop layout or layout by functions. There is a assembly for similar operations or similar machinery in each department. Let's move on to advantages of process-oriented layout. There are three advantages of process-oriented layout, which is the first one is flexibility. Is it more flexible when compared to a product layout? Change in operations as well as their order can be made without disturbing the existing layout, and any new operations can be added. The second one is lower investment. In lower investment, general purpose machines which are usual of low cost are used. Duplication of machinery is avoided. Further, general purpose machines do not become obsolete as rapidly as special purpose machines. The third one is better supervision. This one is because of specialization in operations, efficiency, and better supervision is possible. Next is about the disadvantages of process-oriented layout. There are three disadvantages, which is the first one is longer production time. Time required for production is more in the case of product layout. The second one is skill for required. Skilled labor needs to be employed to perform variety of operation in general purpose machines. And the last one is higher supervision cost. Cost of supervision is higher because of the number of employees per supervisor is less, resulting in reduced span of control. Further, the work is to be checked after each operations. There are two examples of company that choose the process-oriented layout, which is Proton and Hospital. Next is about the characteristic of Proton. The first one is reduce discomfort. The layout should be designed in a way that there is minimum discomfort to the workers. It should provide the proper lighting, ventilations, and reduce the impact of heat, noise, vibrations, and other. The second one is adherence to statutory regulations. The layout should adhere to the regulation of the factors act with regard of health, safety, and welfare of employees. Adherence to the above regulation would minimize accidents and reduce absenteeism due to sickness, contributing to improved productivity. And the last one is preservations of material and equipment. The layout should contain safeguard against fire, moisture, theft, and general deteriorations of equipment and materials. Lastly is about the characteristic of hospital. The first one is flexibility. Manufacturing operations are dynamic in nature. There is continuous innovation in types of product manufacture as well as in equipment, technique, and process of production. Therefore, the layout should be designed in such a way that the layout is flexible enough to adapt change. The second one is accessibility. Manufacturing, maintenance, and servicing facility should be easier to access without any hindrance. To achieve this purpose, there must be sufficient space between equipment so that raw material, machines, and men are able to move freely from one place to another. And the last one is efficient space utilization. Real estate costs are rising by the day, and ideal layout should utilize the available space in an effective way. Wastage of space should be avoided at all costs. The arrangement of equipment, service point, and workers should be done in such a way that space is properly utilized.
Next is warehouse layout. The definition of warehouse layout is the right physical design of interior and exterior of the warehouse, as well as the area surrounding of the actual building. For first advantages is maximum usage of space, which more product can be stored up to 60% when the warehouse layout is maximized usage of space. By then, the company can also reduce their costs and improve the efficiency of warehouse and employee efficiency by ensuring a well-organized warehouse. Merchandise can done quickly. Second advantages of warehouse layout is inventory and workflow control, which warehouse management system will ensure control and uninterrupted flow of product. Software tracks and streamline company logistic operations so that worker can always have access to real-time data regarding the location, also movement of all inventory company. The last advantages of warehouse layout is find anything at any time, which identify and implement a racking system and picking process, which allow for maximum level of accessibility and accurate identification of materials. Pallet shuttle and stacker crane optimize operator movement and result in fast and accurate picking. We move to disadvantages of warehouse layout. First, high setup costs, which the initial setup cost for setting a warehouse is huge, and companies that are small are not able to afford the expenses of warehouse, resulting in them depending on the public warehouse or rented warehouse for storing their goods. Second disadvantages of warehouse layout is inaccurate inventory, which accuracy and efficiency handling inventory in warehousing comes together, which inaccurate inventory causes problems such as maintaining improper stock level and builds up of obsolete inventory. Picking problem also arise when pickers rely on inaccurate information, leading to inefficient process. Other costs of inaccurate stock information include increased expenses, lost revenue, and low productivity. Lastly, disadvantages of warehouse layout is poor facility layout, which inadequate storage space and inefficient use of available storage are common problems in warehouse with poor facility layout. Poorly configured warehouse are a major causes for worry manager because of inherent potential for negative impacts on profits. Next is two examples of the company that use this type of layout is Post Malaysia and IKEA. I will explain Post Malaysia first, and the three characteristics of warehouse layout used by the company is: first, proper location. For effective movement of goods and cost saving, warehouses should be established at places which are convenient to both the buyer and the seller. This warehouse should be set up near railway stations, major highway, seaports, and airports, where goods can be loaded and unloaded conveniently. It is also recommended to have go-downs in open places so that vehicles can move around easily. Second characteristic of warehouse layout that used by the company is parking facility. Parking along road, public places in the urban or suburban areas continue to be a harrowing experience for the trader who visit from the outstations. Hence, in warehouse, proper arrangement should be made inside the premises to assist quick loading,
unloading, and safe parking. Lastly, for the characteristic of warehouse layout used by the company is proper management. If warehouses are not managed properly, all the money spent will go waste. Mismanagement may lead to theft, loss, errors, and omissions of goods stored by various traders. Hence, a strict control over the warehouse is essential on permanent basis. A permanent officer should be appointed for proper arrangement of incoming and outgoing goods. Company is IKEA, and the characteristic warehouse layout that used by this company is use of mechanical appliances. In the warehouse, mechanical appliances should be used to load and unload the goods. It is not only result in safety of men and material, but also reduce wastages in handling goods and overall handling costs. Second characteristic that used by this company is sufficient spaces. For an ideal warehouse, adequate spaces should be covered for maximum storage and to keep the goods in proper order. Each trader, big or small, would want that all of his merchandise should be accommodated in one warehouse so that he need not travel to different places to manage the loading and unloading of his goods. Lastly, the characteristic warehouse layout that used by this company is proximity to the market, which the warehouse should be established at a place where market for raw materials and for selling finished goods is as close as possible. This is the reason that big warehouses are closest to commercial places or bus stands.
For the last our presentation is I am going to talk about office layout. What is office layout? The definition of office layout is according to the Little Fee. Office layout is agreement of the equipment within the available floor space. According to Higgs and Place, the definition of the office layout is the problem of layout related to the agreement in the space involved so that all of the equipment, supplies, producer, and personnel can function at maximum efficiently.
The advantage of the office layout is the task is simplified because work is broken down into smaller tasks. Second, reduce material holding cost because each unit follow the same sequence of operation and move in the one direction. Lastly, of the advantage of office layout to increase collaboration among co-workers. With no walls between them, it's easy for them to communicate with each other. Disadvantage of the office layout is lack of process flexibility in handling a variety of product grades. Next, the advantage of the office layout is noise, because noise is more than just the distraction. Thought is not just a loud conversation that are problematic. The last of the advantage of office layout is privacy. Privacy is not every workplace conversation is meant to everyone to hear. Occasionally, a confidential call or private communication call are for a bit more seclusion. Without a closed office space to conduct this conversation, people are more forced to improvise talking conversation outside of the office environment. Not every conversation in the office is meant for the attention of all.
So of the company that use this type of office layout is first Google, second is Nokia. Google is very famous company in every world because their office and feature is so unique and creative. For the second company is Nokia. Nokia R&D office are located in Sun Valley, California, and they offer a host of features for employees.